Good afternoon, Cross Timbers. Today is Thursday, May 8th, 2014. This is Texan TV News from the Tarleton State University campus in Stephenville, Texas, and I am Maegan Bailey. In today's headlines, a major uproar erupts over the 270 missing Nigerian girls, gas prices on the rise again, controversy over student athletes registering for classes first, issues with on-campus housing, do student opinions really make a difference, Inside Edition over Larry Joe Taylor Fest, Central Texas Crop Report, Draft Day Preview, and Cuban exiles arrested after planning terrorist attacks. Now, today's top story from the Associated Press. Islamic militants have caused a major uproar for kidnapping over 270 Nigerian schoolgirls. They even opened fire in a busy marketplace, killing hundreds of people. Attacks are increasingly escalating with bombings, massacres, and abductions. The suspected organization behind it is Boko Haram. These terrorist attacks are intended to impose an Islamic state on Africa's most populous nation. The terrorists are threatening, in a video, to sell the young women into slavery. The cause of this attack is to rebel against Western influence in Africa. Angry Nigerian protesters filled the streets in an outrage on the lack of efforts by the government. The United States has offered assistance in getting the girls back. Britain, China, and France have joined as well. As you may have seen, the hashtag #BringOurGirlsBack has spread through social media avenues. With nations coming together, the hope to find these girls and end this horrible terrorist attack would be a great accomplishment. We now go to the Associated Press with a video.
Nigeria's President Goodluck Jonathan said the abduction of 300 schoolgirls by the Islamist group Boko Haram last month will mark a turning point in the fight against extremists in Nigeria.
I believe that the kidnap of these girls will be the beginning of end of terror in Nigeria.
Please stand up for a moment.
The founder and executive chairman of the World Economic Forum led Jonathan and other world leaders in a moment of silence for the girls.
We cannot allow terrorism to dictate our agendas.
The kidnapping has ignited a viral social media campaign under the hashtag #BringBackOurGirls, with even First Lady Michelle Obama joining and tweeting a picture and the message, "Our prayers are with the missing Nigerian girls and their families. It's time to bring back our girls." Boko Haram's 5-year-old Islamic uprising has killed thousands of Muslims and Christians, including more than 1,500 people killed in attacks so far this year. Bob McCall, Associated Press.
In campus news, we have multiple stories. With the talk about athletes beginning to register first, the Texan News Service got to the bottom of it. Now we go to the video.
Hey Texans, my name is Autumn Adams and I'm with the Texan News Service. Today we're going to be discussing the controversy on whether athletic programs should be able to register with the honor students instead of with the regular students. Now we go to Tori O'Neill with Bethany Kyle with her opinions on this issue.
I'm Tori O'Neill with Texan TV News Service. I'm here with Bethany Kyle, who is a member of student government. Why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself?
In student government, I serve right now as the Vice President of Academic Affairs, but I'll be moving forward next year to serve as the Chief of Staff underneath the new President.
Okay, what all does student government do?
Here on our campus, student government runs, the way we run, it's more about policy change within the school. We don't really do a lot with government outside of Tarleton. It's more about just student concerns and things they want to see changed on their campus. So it's mostly dealing in that, students coming forward with issues that they want to see changed and then doing our best to reach admin.
Okay, why don't you tell us a little bit about the issue with athletes possibly being able to register with honors?
Okay, well, that came about at the end of last semester, the spring or the fall 2013. And I was talking with one of the senators, and he happens to be a student athlete, and he expressed a problem that he saw where on his team, which happened to be the cross-country team, a lot of the underclassmen were missing practices, and it was frustrating trying to get the team together to practice because of class schedules. They couldn't work around a practice schedule, and they would end up practicing at really odd hours. And this is also a problem I had seen with other sports, practicing at odd hours because they couldn't get their classes worked around it. And so we figured, we're in student government, if there's something we can do to help those people, then we should do what we can.
Okay, so your position is for?
Yes, I actually wrote the resolution and co-sponsored it with Ty Doty, Senator of College of Business Administration. And yeah, so I'm very in support of it. I'm probably the person in charge of the charge on that, but it's just something I see as having a lot of benefits and for a lot of people, there's just over 300 student athletes, and that would benefit all of them and their teams and help them perform better. And while we're trying to do this Division I move, we could use all the help we could get. And with only 300 athletes, I don't think it would hurt most students too much.
So you don't think it would affect the college at all?
I think it would just affect it positively. I think a lot of students were worried about it would affect their ability to register, but with only 300 student athletes, that's just a drop in the bucket of our 10,000 students. So really, it's mostly just going to benefit the athletes more than it's going to hinder the other students, and it's going to help them, work around practice schedules, get more team practice, and then, they perform better in their sports. So, and that can only help the college.
Okay, well, what about other organizations that are gone a lot and have trouble working around their schedules?
That question arose whenever I was presenting the resolution, and just how I answered it was that Ty came and we worked together to help the athletes, and that's what we were focusing on at the time. But that's the thing about student government, is that if anybody wants to come forward and do something that they also see needs to be done, for example, the rodeo team was brought up because they travel a lot, said, well, come forward and we'll be willing to work with you and see what we could do to write resolution or a legislation, and then see if something can happen for them. Because I'm not saying that no one else deserves to register early, just what we're focusing on at the time is that we see a problem with athletes not being able to do that, and this is what we're trying to change right now. Now, I couldn't say who else does or doesn't deserve to, but that's what we're focusing on at the moment, is that we thought the athletes needed that help.
Okay, well, thank you very much.
New York.
Thank you, Tori. Now we go to Harley Brown with Betty Cryer, who is the manager of honor students in the Honors College, with her opinion on the subject.
I had the chance to sit down with Betty Cryer, the manager of honor services. Ms. Cryer was unaware of the proposition of student athletes being able to register with the honors program. She believes that honor students should be able to continue to register before the athletes. Honor students will get kicked out of the honors program if they are unable to fit the honors classes into their schedule. Athletes won't get kicked off the team due to class conflicting with practice. Also, she believes that if this proposition goes through, this will have a domino effect, and soon other organizations will be registering first too.
Thank you, Harley. So, Texans, now that we have two opinions on this subject, student and faculty, do you think that athletes should register with the honor students or the regular students? You decide. Again, I'm Autumn Adams with the Texan News Service. Y'all have a great summer.
Having enough space to house Tarleton students has become an issue since Tarleton's enrollment is increasing each year. Alyssa Urbanic was there to cover some of the issues housing is facing.
The university requires students with less than 60 Tarleton credits to live on campus for 2 years unless they are over the age of 21, married, live with a relative, or have a medical issue. However, the rooms available do not accommodate the number of students required to live on campus. Some students are being forced to live through to a room in an area initially built to house 2 people. We spoke with Shelley Conboy Brown, Associate Director of Housing, to find out more on the situation.
We'll be adding approximately 500 beds this upcoming August, so that's Heritage Hall. We are going to break ground this summer for another facility. Again, that will be another 500 beds, and then we're in the discussion stages for a third facility. And the final bed count for that facility has not been determined, but we're looking at potentially another 500 beds. It could be less than that. It could be more than that. We're looking at what that facility design will be like. Looked at that a lot. We actually had an outside company, a neutral company, come in and do an analysis. When they did the analysis, the thing that they found is that it is still less expensive to live on campus overall than it is to live off campus. One of the things that we have done is we have identified environments that students can choose that are lower cost. If they don't choose those, then they don't choose those. But right now, you can live in a Bender or a Ferguson double price or a Traditions triple price at a very low cost. Well, I think that every every area there are concerns, that you've got to overcome, opportunities that you've got to work on, and those kinds of things. And we're no different. It definitely is difficult to manage the number of bed spaces with the amount of enrollment that we've got and the amount of demand. But that's just something that we've got to deal with, something that we've got to work on, and we recognize what that is, and we're taking drastic steps, significant amount of building projects in addition to some of the other things that we're doing in order to manage that constraint.
Brown also explained that Tarleton has a committee that looks at possible options for parking to go along with these new dorms, and that first-year students live in dorms while second-year students usually live in apartments on campus. However, students around campus had different opinions concerning housing, one particular being that a questionnaire should be offered to match students of similar people instead of picking roommates at random.
Why is it not good?
Too little space, too close of people, especially when you don't get along with someone. It's not good.
Is the low price worth living with two other people?
I'd rather pay more and have more room to myself than pay less and be squished in a room with two other people.
Why do you
First year RL in Centennial discussed some of the benefits as well as the negatives of living on campus.
If you live in Centennial, it's just a couple hundred feet away, and so it's you're more likely to do it when you live on campus, and you're more likely to get involved on campus to make that connection to the school. Whereas if you're off campus, you don't really have. There's more distance between the school and your connection. So, I can't guarantee it for sure, but I'm pretty certain no one's like, oh, I want to live in Ferguson or Bender, because they have bad names that follow them, like Dirty Ferg, stuff like that. So nobody really is like, oh, send me there. So I guess for me it's been fun. I've been here. I'm about to finish my second year, and then next year I'm also going to be an RL again in Centennial. So that'll be my third year living on campus. And my biggest complaint is that as a junior, I still have to make food out of my microwave.
Melissa Urbanic with Texan TV News, and now back to you, Megan.
Our next story, covered by Thomas Varnado, discusses whether students' opinions make a difference on campus.
We're here with Jay Johnson, the Student Government Association president, and we're just going to ask him a few questions today on the concerns of students and why we seem to get set aside more than faculty or staff or otherwise. So, Jay, why do students' questions and concerns seem to get disregarded or set aside on an everyday basis?
I really think it's due to a lack of communication, kind of on all fronts. Whether it be the students really not, letting SGA know their huge concerns, and that's SGA's fault too for not getting them. Administration really not doing the best job of letting students know what's going on campus. It's just communication, because everybody's here for students. Students want to get an education. Administration wouldn't be here if they didn't care about students. And students really do have a powerful voice, and I really want students to know that, and we want to be a resource for them so they don't feel that way.
And who reviews the concerns of the students?
It kind of depends on what concern. SGA reviews kind of direct concerns from the students regarding things like library hours, dining hall hours. And if that were to pass through student government, we would deal with the people directly, people in charge of, like I said, the library, dining hall, work with administration, work with whoever to alleviate those problems.
Okay. Last question. What is your role in the students' decisions?
Basically, the executive branch, the president, vice president, such. They take care of the day-to-day operations of student governments, meeting times and kind of boring things like that. But it's really the really important role is communicating concerns to administration, taking concerns directly from the students to administration to make sure that students' voices don't go unheard. Like you said.
So you are the ultimate middleman.
I guess I'm the ultimate middleman.
Okay, y'all heard it first from Jay Johnson, Student Government President. We'll just say that. Okay, thank you for your time, Jay.
Thanks, sir.
Have a good day.
In regional news, Shelby Hilton reports on the pros and cons of the Larry Joe Taylor Festival in Erath County.
During this segment, we will discuss the impact that the LJT Festival has on the community as well as the festival goers. The Larry Joe Taylor Festival is one of the most predominant festivals here in Stephenville. A wide array of people attend LJT for its many attributes such as music and gaming. Over 90% of people come each year, and over 95% of people feel safe each year.
Countywide, there were 63 arrests for that week. Of the 63, now that includes Dublin, Stephenville, us, Highway Patrol, but of that 63 total arrests for the entire week, 48 of them were either directly or indirectly related to Larry Joe Taylor's concert.
On the LJT website, it says 91% of people feel safe during the festival. Do you stand by that statistic?
Very much so. When you put over 50,000 people in one place, and 99.9% of them are drinking, and only 16 go to jail, I would say that yeah, it's doing good. Do we have problems out there? Yes. But like I said, when you put that many people in one area and there's alcohol involved, there's going to be problems.
With the week-long festival comes a positive impact on the local community. However, there are negative aspects that result from festival goers. Ashley Graves, Executive Director of Choice Clinic, said 4 to 6 weeks after any major holiday like spring break or LJT, we do see an increase in the number of individuals seeking our help. Any individuals finding themselves in an unplanned pregnancy or concerned about a potential STD, Choice Clinic is able to assist and educate. All of their services are free and confidential.
I've gone since my senior year of high school, so this would have been my 5th year to go to LJT.
All right. Since you're of age, how much money did you spend on alcohol?
$400 to $500 for the whole week.
Okay. Did you feel safe going to LJT, during LJT, and coming from LJT?
Going, like starting of the week, I felt great about it. Like I didn't worry about anybody because usually no one's been drinking and driving. During, if you don't know what's going on, you kind of freak out because there's a lot of stuff going on and a lot of drinking and a lot of things that you usually don't see on a normal day-to-day basis. Alcohol is not what it's all about. Go out there and enjoy the music. You don't have to go out there and black out. You don't have to go out there and do all the bad stuff that is associated with it. You can go out there and enjoy the good music, sit around and have a good time with friends without even drinking a one drop of alcohol.
The Taylor Festival immerses itself in music, vendors, and food. It's one of the largest music festivals in Erath County. LJT positively affects the county, but with all good things, there are some bad blemishes. So the question is, how will you spend your LJT? I'm Shelby Hilton, reporting for the Texan News Service at Tarleton State University.
With the ever-rising gas prices over the past few years, and even the past few weeks, there is good news on the way. The Stephenville Empire-Tribune reports that with the U.S. distribution terminals completing the transition from winter to summer blends of gasoline, many of the factors that contributed to the national average per gallon price spike seem to have run their course. With the blend version completed, motorists can expect this Memorial Day fill-up cheaper than last year. However, should the shaky seasonal weather turn sour, prices could increase again. As of Wednesday, Texas had the 7th lowest average price per gallon in the United States at $3.43 a gallon, more than 20 cents cheaper than the national average. The Stephenville price yesterday was $3.46, 10 cents less than last year. However, as a Stephenville resident, Blake Bill said, "It's a necessity and I'm going to pay for it either way, whether it's expensive or cheap." And now for today's sports, Texas, and national news from the Associated Press. Draft day has finally arrived, and if the wait seemed longer than normal, that's because it was. This is the first NFL draft to take place in May due to scheduling conflicts at Radio City Music Hall. Commissioner Robert Goodell said it's too soon to tell if the May draft day is here to stay. Top prospects such as Johnny Manziel and Teddy Bridgewater got to spend yesterday keeping their mind off the draft by giving back to the kids. And now we go to the Associated Press for a video.
A day before the NFL draft, some of the top prospects spent the day giving back to the game.
Just getting to spend time with the kids and be out here and run around, it's fun.
But as they help shape the next generation of football stars, this year's draft class is ready to shine right now.
I mean, I think everybody's anxious. I think everybody's ready to find out where they're going to call home for the next 4 or 5 years.
The draft kicks off Thursday night, and the Houston Texans currently hold the #1 overall pick. They may take Jadeveon Clowney, one of the most coveted defensive players in years.
It's a very special moment, not for only me, for my family, my school back at home, back at Carolina, my high school, just everybody.
They could also take a quarterback, with standouts like Heisman winner Johnny Manziel.
For me, whether it's 1 or 200, I'm just ready to get back on the football field and start playing football.
And Teddy Bridgewater.
It would mean a lot, just to be drafted, period. And, I'm honored, and blessed to be in this situation right now, and I'm just looking forward to what's in store for me in the future.
But it's still not clear what the Texans will do, something the top prospects are well aware of.
It's been throughout this whole process, I've been hearing a lot of projections, but nothing is really set in stone.
But one thing is for sure, for some of these athletes, their lives are about to change forever. Bob McCall, Associated Press.
We now have the latest crop report in Central Texas. Winds and warmer temperatures have dried out the soils. Prior to mid-April freeze damage, the best wheat fields were expected to produce 35 bushels per acre, but drought and freeze damage has reduced those expectations. Rangeland is in the worst condition since 2009. Clay soils are powder dry. Corn and sorghum need rain soon in order to produce. Stock pond water has also become an issue due to the lack of water. Farmers are baling oats, wheat, and ryegrass for hay in expectation of the drought continuing throughout the summer. In national news, Cuban exiles from Miami have been arrested for planning terrorist activities against military stations on the island of Cuba. It is said that they are trying to take over military installations. The detained men include Jose Armador, Obdulio Gonzalez, Ray Bel Santos, and Felix Monzon. Most of these men were unknown in Florida, but Cuba says they were acting on orders from people in the military. The Cuban Ministry of Interior is reaching out to the U.S. authorities. The plots were allegedly led by Santiago Mardina, Osvaldo Mitt, and Manuel Alzucare in Miami. The allegations are still under investigation. The weather from the Weather Channel. The high for today is 83 degrees with the chance of severe thunderstorms. Today's broadcast was produced by the Texas TV News team. This is the final broadcast of the spring 2014 semester here at Tarleton. Don't forget to tell your friends about us on Facebook and become a fan of Texan TV News. I am Maegan Bailey. Have a great summer.